Greetings. This is Martin James Lynch. The time is 12:26, the 4th of March, which falls on a Saturday. Now, we're looking at ASIO careers with ASIO, Security Australia protecting its people to the point. Not to sound condescending at all, but I just smoked a joint, and I read just a partial bits of information regarding careers. And it sounded like me, it sounded like something I would love to aspire to. Location, Canberra, Melbourne, Sydney. Category, ongoing permanent. Job reference, 023202222023. Salary, $122,690 to $141,223. Closing date, the 20th of March. Description. The organisation. The Australian Security Intelligence Organisation, ASIO, protects Australia and Australians from threats to their security. In a complex, changing and challenging security environment, our success is built on the imagination in the intelligence of our team. ASIO and ASIO's people are ordinary Australians, but do extraordinary things. They are our most important asset. To be successful in our mission, we need talented people who are highly capable, dedicated, adaptive, and resilient. We seek to reflect. In so, we reflect the diversity of the community we protect. ASIO is committed to fostering a diverse and inclusive environment where all staff are valued and respected. We welcome applicants from all eligible candidates, irrespective of gender, sexual orientation, ethnicity, religion, affiliation, age, or disability. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples are encouraged to apply. Our people are introverted, extroverted, and neurodiverse. We are secretive about what we do, but not what we value. The opportunity. We are seeking applicants from the diverse range of experienced professionals to fill numerous leadership vacancies across the intelligence professional stream at ASIO's Executive Employee Level 1, AEE1. AEE1 positions are responsible for the management and leadership of our staff, our team, to the core, to the point, to the period. Their retrospect capability, development and diversity of corporate and mission outcomes. No matter your role, you will have the opportunity to apply your skills to a unique and interesting, challenging, and gain new skills and experience as you go. Within-going applicants may be considered to alternative roles that may be available across the organisation following the assessments process. Successful candidates will be offered a role that best aligns with their skills, their experience, and our organisational's capability priorities. A merit pool will also be created for further positions that may be available over the next 18 months. Within the intelligence stream, we are inviting applicants from experienced intelligence professionals to work in a range of ideas and areas including but not limited to. Now there's 4 dot points, 4 pillars. Intelligence, analysis, assessment, and advice. Sounds awesome. HUMIT operations. Got to research it. Intelligence, operations, planning and support, and assurance. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Security vetting and investigations. So what do I get from security vetting investigations? It would be sort of to say what I think you'd work on. I think you'd work on what security vetting codes you have, and to say who should have when it comes into the next lot of transparency of opening up to what it is that you've got to work on who's going to be allowed to know some certain information that if you tell some people it gets them killed because it's like too dangerous to loose lips. And it's not that, and predominantly it's more so because they're a liability. So say if it was Paul Glenn from down in Barossa Road, I told him a bit of information, and the next time I went down there, he's been replaced by someone. Worked for ASIO, but foreign interference. He did try to beat me up. He was, as well as he was nice, it was maybe ASIO had no idea what was going on, and maybe they didn't know what was going on in their ears at the time because it was foreign interference and it was playing in their earpiece. But some information that you tell some people can be dangerous, and there's no point of just letting it out for then someone to lose their life. So the AEE-1 intelligence stream roles include a small number of positions which work under the shift work roster arrangement. These are Canberra-based positions involving weekend shift work, including on public holidays, and attractive penalty rates as a weighted average shift penalty, the WASP, the WASP, loading of 21.43 on top of the salary, as well as additional 5 days of annual leave accrued progressively over the course of a year. If you want to make a difference and you are on an inclusive and enterprise-minded leader with great critical thinking skills, this job's for you. Chances are you're the kind of person we're looking for. Find out more about working at ASIO, what you will bring. You will be inclusive and enterprise-minded leader who is passionate about collaborating with teams and within the team of the dedicated professionals to deliver high-quality mission outcomes. You will have well-developed technical skills and demonstrated experience in your field of expertise within the motivation to apply them into the ASIO context. And so you will be dedicated, you will be adaptable, you'll be resilient, and you will bring with you demonstrated technical skills in all areas of expertise and the ability to apply them in the ASIO context. You will be able to demonstrate the following core capabilities expected of an executive level 1 at ASIO. Demonstrated skills and experience successfully leading operational analytical teams to achieve outcomes. Outcomes, 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 outcomes. Provide impartial advice. So now I should read it and then add it to what I can think on the spot towards the job. Provide impartial advice, apply exceptional judgment and demonstrate critical thinking and logical reasoning, and build these capabilities within the team. So I should really look up the definition of impartial, but I'd say part is part partial. So provide advice. So you could be in there and there could be recruiting and inspiring and getting the new youth into thinking, how do we become you, Martin? Tell us your secrets. Well, I'd say the key to intelligence for me is that I never have a definitive, infinitive conclusion of where it sits. And because of my mental illness and because of that, of such quote at the start, no definitive, infinitive, final conclusion, is that every time in the future, reflecting back on that past present, you can gain more insight and more knowledge. But obviously, some things are just like it is what it is, and it is how it is because it is how it is, and that's why it is what it is how it is. It's just how it is. So I'd say and they go, what does that mean? It's like, well, never have your mind totally made up of it's just how it is. You've jumped the gun, but you've just, whether you've got your blinkers on or whether you just be a bit naive, but you think something, just like you're at a party, you try some wild drugs and you think everyone can mind read and everyone's sort of, you peeking out about just everything, and you take it the wrong way. Don't think of those ways that then you wake up the next day and go, oh, I was just peeking balls. There was nothing wrong at all. It was just, and they're like, do you experiment with drugs, Mr. Lynch? Oh, sorry, was I giving some advice today? Oh, and that's what I mean. That we'll touch on that subject. Okay, you've had your night. You've interpreted your information. You've done your thing. You've done your writing. You've done your movies. You've done your voice recordings. You've gone for your walk. Every reflection should be based on a different mindset looking back at something. So if I was to say, I lost 10 kilos and I went to the gym for a month and then I looked at myself in the mirror and said, geez, you're looking good right now. You've lost 10 kilos. You've gone to the gym for a month. You'll see results. And then to say that in the future you could go back on that photo or that memory of and say, geez, no, I wasn't. But it's all in. I think what I would like to do, guys, is to say I've got this far, but I've made it simple. Yes, I do know some long words, but maybe I do need to brush up on more words that I'm a leading high class professional in what I do. And yes, it has been a bit sort of, I don't think I look back at some things in 2018 and 2019, I just seem really angry. But I was really angry because that was my outlet of letting go of the situation or the environment that made me get on. And I'd have to say the key to success is to building resilience in responding to how people respond to you, to what you say to get you down, is just to say that just talk to yourself. Go for do journals, go for a walk, do a journal log or a vlog, and don't turn it off just because there's been an hour of silence. Because you go back at it, and because you couldn't at the time think of hear the crickets, you go over it to hear the crickets, to hear the birds, to hear everything else. So I think we need to get in touch with nature. It is complex. It's not a total complexity to explain it, but you need some structure and to realize that if you're trying to explain really complex situations, I think that in all, us as a race need to just more verbalize things, but realize that we spend more verbalize things to ourselves and say what we mean and say what we mean and mean what we say and say it nicely and promote conversation. But not everyone knows what I know. Not everyone has got my genetic code, which is unique to my own self and experience by the walk of life that I've gone through to today. And I can't say that we can judge people because we've never walked in their shoes. But I'd like to say that I've achieved academically and just proportionately to the world, which is outstanding. But I've also gone through a great ordeal of a lot of trauma, a lot of violence, a lot of torture, a lot of torment, a lot of unsteadiness through the chaotic um, river of time that sort of, yeah, it's just started to get good now. I'm not complaining about, oh, America, you haven't paid your bills, or Australia, you haven't paid your bills. I can walk down the street now and go like, okay, Trump's war is ended. Yes, I'll always be remembered of Trump's war every morning and every night, which I do academically achieved a lot. I could never have to go through those conditions again because I think that it's all connected. I've somehow, as people would look at it and look at all the information, go, he's done it perfectly. Yes, it's some unshaky bits, but look at everyone else and their shaky bits. And it only has to happen once to being so. Just saying maybe that's once too much. So what I'd like to get from that, people, is to verbalize, to program yourself, to get it out there, and to realize that when don't get yourself down when you express your bright ideas, even though you communicated it well, it's their interpretation. You could have scenarios that you say something and then they hear something else in their mind, or that's what they make of it, or that's how they react from it. And you've got to realize that, okay, just say that you've said something to someone that is your good friend and have taken it the wrong way, and you worry about it, or you think that it was a failure, but it made sense to them when they were by themselves, when they'd sorted out everything else running in the background in their subconsciousness to be conscious of, to then make the most of it. And I think a lot of people, the people that absorb the most information and do the right thing, is when they've got as little as possible floating around in the background that they're not conscious of, that's just chewing up their mind. So we can only be conscious and good at and be focused on so many points at any one time. And even though sometimes we can do ridiculous amounts, it's only a very short half-life. And Einstein said that you can never, if you do something over and over again, exactly the same way and expect to get a different result, then I think it's something like that. So it's like saying that, okay, I'm going to go into the argument with my partner or to my wife and use the same verbal violence or to the tone, to the pitch, but to the same degree, but in my way that I do it. No, that's not putting fire on fire, is what you should be doing. So reality, what is it? Well, it's infinite, uniquely infinite. And that to say every entity out there that had to give an definition to it would all be different. Then we'd write down God, what God meant. Then we'd realize everyone else was different. Again. Then we'll write down what the word the or these, what that definition stands for. Then we'll write down definition and get everyone else, every entity out there to write out what their definition of definition is. And then we'll say to the quote, to the no need to write but silence. So I think everyone that has been replaced by a robot, that after they have their stint of what they do, is they should put into society. So I just got really anxious then. And I swear it's like satellites that send a frequency down on you. But it really off settles you and gives you anxiety straight away. And they're like, man, that was just the first one. Are you going to go into the next one? Demonstrated skills and experience successfully leading operational analytical teams to achieve outcomes. Well, I think to achieve an outcome is the majority of people have to agree with what's going on to being sort of like together and sort of having the same sort of. It couldn't be ASIO, half of them on like say a quarter, 90, 75% of ASIO people want me to, this hypothetical, 75% of ASIO people agree and accept of what I do, and 25% disagree and think that I'm just a nuisance, and that uh, I pose no helping, or I'm just worthless. And that would be a bit extreme, but I'm just saying that's just to say that what you need to do is you need to achieve an outcome, and the majority of people of ASIO have to have the same vision and the same of what they care about and their values and what they care about. And that should be to see that, given the circumstances of listening to what I've gone through, to the satellites, to the private sector or Pine Gap to come down and show people and say, this is everything, this is the satellites, this is the footage. And they should all say, well, look at the potential. You know, he's produced a lot of work. It's not the words that are written, but it's what makes you think and what happens and what makes you and what you do with it. So if I was to say to walk away from here, guys, and say that when you meet people that inspire you, it's more than the words they say. It's the meaning and everything behind it and what makes you think. So you could be watching a movie and laughing at different things or stuff, and it doesn't correspond to the movie. But you could be off in your own world that you're thinking those words they're talking are making you think of something totally different. That's making you look at that area and understand it. So a lot of things that I have epiphanies and working things out is going for a walk, uh, going out in nature, and it's also a good de-stress and it's what we should do. And you got me on the word about substances. Yes, there is good aids out there to say, um, all I was going to say is if that you were someone that smoked marijuana and through your career, and then you had to come to the headquarters to write your conclusion, and you had to get stoned. It's just saying that you should be able to come to do different things, but when it comes to the day, you have to be sober as a judge for it to make sense. It can't just be that your crazy idea that always makes sense when you're high, and then when you're not high, it doesn't make sense, and the reality just breaks down. Chaos. And to say that it's weird how some things only make sense when we're high, but then we look back at it and go, that doesn't make any sense at all. Is that maybe just Ritalin or stuff like that, but there are other substances out there, and if you're wanting to go to, like I don't know, like the Amazon and try some DMT and get spiritual and sort of ask your mind or ask what they say the spirit's a question and it will respond and tell you, but you have to have your minds in check and to realize what questions you're going to ask it. Then there is the spookiness to say if that actually does work to be so profound, then what does our internal dialogue or our internal energy input do on reality, on our own minds or on other people? Or can it affect matter? Will we actually know that our minds can affect matter? Okay, demonstrated skills and experience successfully leading operational analytical teams to achieve results. Demonstrated skills and experience. Well, I demonstrated skills and experience. I would have to say that I've never worked as under any title or under any other or organization or department, whether it be intelligence or military. I'm an experienced to high strangeness, which got a lot of attention from America and inspired two presidents, um, Obama and Trump. Trump era was. I'm glad that it's kind of over, but it did get us to today. Um, Obama, I really highly respect him as a leader, as a politician, and someone who talks of great conviction. And um, I relate to Obama as to saying that some things that we go through, especially the environment, yeah, very definitely environmental, and I don't know. Maybe Obama might be the same to saying that when I look back at jobs now that I did, I could do a better job because I don't have as much going on in the background and I've sorted it out. And yeah, I've got YouTube channels. I know that everything. I'm more of a news analyst or a data analyst. Um, I'm good at being able to read people and to knowing actually what they mean by that. I know directly when people are talking to me by like that aren't using my name, but you know that is talking to you. And I would just like a position today to influence and help inspire and ignite a better understanding and getting to know me, and to say that I'm really bad at interviews like this because all my experience has been what I've done in my free time. You've got to enjoy what you do to be good at. And if you want it to last in the long run and down the long haul, then you've got to enjoy it. And if you do enjoy it and then stop enjoying it, you've got to try and work out what it was that you were good at, and maybe that, you know, you've not got to test yourself by nearly derailing yourself all the time, but you've got to test yourself to always wanting to have a better understanding. So if you've got an understanding of a situation that gets you upset or angry or frustrated, imagine if there was another way you could look at the situation for you to go, ah, that makes sense. Ah, it will be alright as long as I go with it with this sort of way. And that's just going to save you in the short term and the long run of not things getting to you, because when things get to you, you get angry, and when you get angry, you get aggressive. When you get aggressive, you lose the plot, and you're very bad at reasoning and very bad at seeing things. So I can be in a bad situation and be singing down the street in the past because that was how I handled it. Because then I'd have to think, well, I'm never going back there. I'm never doing that again, or I'm cutting them off, and yeah, man, Afghanistan, Tasmania. You know, you'd be scared if you came down here. You're by yourself. No, you would be. People like, is he brazen or is he dumb or is he stupid or is he brave all at once? Look at him as marching in there, all these dangerous people. Literally doesn't care. Literally's like, man, I've been enough scraps to say that I'm not going to get any, I'm not going to be subjected to any pain by you guys. No, but that's it. I've gone into some pretty dangerous places. And that's the thing is, the cleanup crew are coming through, and people may say I'm Jesus, Some people may giggle and laugh and sneeze and hiccup and say, he's Buddha. The Tao Te Ching goes within absolutely nothingness is absolutely everything. And with obtaining absolutely everything, there is absolutely nothingness. Mind blown. Okay, we get through knowing it to be based on nature. Did it say, hey, hey, everything was going fantastic until we got caught up in the material and we lost our minds. Headache, mental health, go for a walk, get down and talk, get down and talk, get down and talk.
So here are some of the basics of our cosmological framework.